News.
Thanks, Renette, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headlines, Obama budget boosts military spending and taxes on wealthy. And U.S. reports 27 airstrikes in Iraq and Syria. And in Yemen, third U.S. drone strike kills 4 in a week. In Croatia, cancels debt of 60,000 poorest residents. An anti-Islam Pegida movement outnumbered at first rally in Austria. And U.S. oil workers launch broadest strike since 1980. And workers at NYC legal nonprofit strike over pay and family leave. And freed Al Jazeera journalist Peter Grest speaks after release, Mohammed Fahmy release imminent. And parents of missing Mexican students take fight to the UN. In another report, Mexican authorities tortured local police to confess to role in students' disappearance. And U.S. expands sanctions on Venezuelan officials. And 51 deaths from General Motors defect found eligible for compensation. An FCC chair to issue landmark proposal to preserve open internet. And family of Jesse Hernandez, teenage girl killed by Denver police, calls for federal probe. GVTV News is broadcast on Grass Valley Television, a division of Rural County's television network whose focus is on community involvement. We also air on NCTV. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who support your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's world's first news, President Obama has unveiled his $4 trillion budget proposal for next year, asking Congress to raise taxes for the wealthy and corporations to help fund education and fix crumbling infrastructure. The plan includes tax cuts for some poor and middle-class families. It also seeks to recoup losses from corporations that stash an estimated $2 trillion overseas by taxing such earnings at 14%. Still less than half of the 35% rate profits made in the United States. Budget takes aim at high cost of prescription drugs, proposed a new agency to regulate food safety, and seeks $1 billion to curb immigration from Central America. It also calls for a 4.5% increase in military spending, including $534 billion base budget on Pentagon, plus $51 billion to fund U.S. involvement in Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Speaking to the Department of Homeland Security, Obama said across-the-board cuts known as sequestration would hurt the military. He said just last week top military officials told Congress that if Congress does nothing to stop sequestration, there could be serious consequences for our national security at a time when our military is stretched in a whole range of issues. That's why I want to work with Congress to replace mindless austerity with small investments that strengthen America, and we can do it to say we are fiscally responsible. Fiscally, yes, he said fiscally responsible. Improvement. United States coalition forces have continued their bombardment of Islamic State militants in Iraq and Syria. On Monday, U.S. Central Command reported 27 airstrikes in the past 24 hours, including 9 near Kobani, Syria, and 17 across Iraq. Meanwhile, Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said airstrikes by Syrian government targeted rebel-held areas, killed more than 40 people, probably most Muslim Islamic terrorists. U.S. drone strike has reportedly killed 4 people traveling in a car in southeastern Yemen. Unnamed local sources identified victims as al-Qaeda suspects. It was the third such strike to hit Yemen in a week, including last Monday's strike, killed a 12-year-old boy. Meanwhile, the latest tally from the Bureau of Investigative Journalism shows U.S. drone strikes have killed nearly 2,500 people since President Obama took office, including more than 300 civilians. Obama has overseen nearly 9 times as many strikes in Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia as his predecessor. God, I'm full of it today, aren't I? George W. Bush. In related news, Croatia has canceled the debts of the poorest residents under a new government plan. To estimated 60,000 low-income residents will see their debts absorbed by creditors, including local banks, major telecommunication providers, and city governments. The move comes after more than 300,000 Croatian citizens saw their bank accounts blocked last summer due to debt. Anti-Islam Pegida movement has held its first ever march in Austria. Roughly 250 Pegida supporters gathered in Vienna, or Wien, if you're over there, were heavily outnumbered by thousands of counter-demonstrators in German city of Frankfurt. Meanwhile, about 1,200 Pegida critics confronted a rally of 85 supporters and threw eggs at Pegida organizer Heidi Mund. U.S. oil workers have launched their largest strike in 35 years amid demands for safer conditions, higher pay, and better health care. Nearly 4,000 members of the United Steelworkers Union walked off the job Sunday in 9 sites that supply about 10% of the country's refining capacity. One refinery in California is shut down, while managers have taken over operations at several other sites. The strike comes after union negotiators rejected the offer from Shell, which is leading contract talks on behalf of major firms, including ExxonMobil, BP, and Chevron. United Steelworkers say the oil industry is the richest in the world and can afford to address issues including unsafe staffing levels and dangerous conditions which lead to fires, explosions, and leaks. And they want to raise our gas price again, I guess. The unions do. In New York City, employees of top legal nonprofit providing services to the poor have gone on strike. Dozens of attorneys and other employees of MFY Legal Services walked off job to demand fair pay, family leave, and manageable workloads amidst high turnover and increased numbers of cases. Employees say managers have taken illegal steps against the union, including eavesdropping at a meeting. Freed Al Jazeera journalist Peter Grest has spoken out after 400 days in Egyptian prison. Grest and 2 of his Al Jazeera colleagues, Mohammed Fahmy and Bahir Mohammed, were jailed for spreading false news on behalf of the Muslim Brotherhood, a terrorist organization which the government considers a terrorist group. They were arrested as part of a crackdown on Al Jazeera after a coup against Muslim Brotherhood President Mohammed Morsi in 2013. Speaking in Cyprus, he has been followed his release. Grest described the lead-up to his release and said, "And I went for a run and the prison warden called me over and told me that, you know, time to pack your stuff." "What do you mean?" And he said, "You're going." "Well, where? Another prison?" He said, No. The embassy's coming. They're here in an hour. Get your stuff and go." I can't tell you that real mixed emotion that was boiling inside, as I said to you a moment ago, the sense of relief, excitement, and also real stress at having to say goodbye to my colleagues, friends, and people who have really become family inside that prison. Canada Foreign Minister, meanwhile, said that the release of Canadian-Egyptian journalist Mohammed Fahmy is imminent. After Fahmy agreed to renounce his Egyptian citizenship, Fahmy could be released within hours. The new Egyptian law allows imprisoned foreigners to be deported. Peter Grest, an Australian, fate of the 3rd Al Jazeera journalist, Bahir Mohammed, remains unclear as he is an Egyptian citizen. Parents of 43 Mexican students missing since September have taken their struggles for answers to the United Nations. The parents traveling to Geneva, where the UN Committee on Enforced Disappearance is considering Mexico's record, speaking to reporters as he wore a t-shirt showing his missing son, Bernabe Abrahan de la Cruz, called for international help to uncover the student's fate. And he said, we've decided to come here to this committee to get support and to really obtain a justice, given the fact that our government is not able to do anything. So we came here so that human rights at the international level will force the government to let us, the 43 family parents, know the truth and find our children and our beloved ones and end this torture. So far, remains of just one of the 43 missing students has been identified. Last week, Mexican government said the students were murdered on the orders of a drug cartel, which mistook them for a rival gang. But the account contradicts published reports that directly tie the government officials to the student disappearance. A new report published Sunday by the Mexican magazine Proceso accuses Mexican authorities of torturing and beating more than 24 municipal police officers in order to force them to confess to a role in the students' disappearance. The United States has expanded sanctions against Venezuelan officials and their family members. The United States refuses to name the officials who will now be banned from receiving visas due to alleged involvement in human rights violations and corruption. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro criticizes the restrictions and says, "We will not allow an empire that has kept us and all of Latin America and the Caribbean in its sights, an empire that has hated and has schemed against the Bolivar document for 200 years to attempt to create the right to punish Bolivar's homeland, to threaten Bolivar's homeland." More than 4,000 people submitted claims to compensation over the deadly ignition switch defect General Motors took over a decade to address. Kenneth Feinberg, who is overseeing the compensation fund for victims, said many of the claims have been deemed ineligible due to lack of documents. Feinberg, who also oversaw compensation to victims of 9/11, said, "So far, we have found 51 deaths and 69 physical injury claims eligible to be paid. Those are not the statistics so far. Not one eligible claimant, not one has yet refused the money and decided to litigate. So I think we're doing something right." In a victory of the open internet, the chair of the Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, is set to propose regulating internet service as a public utility. FCC Chair Tom Wheeler is expected to submit a proposal to fellow commissioners this week that would deem internet access a telecommunications service under Title II of the Communications Act, a step long demanded by advocates of net neutrality, principle of the free and open internet. In a statement, the group Free Press called the move one of the most important victories in public interest in FCC's history. Good news. Not very often, but that one is. Family of teenage girl shot dead at Denver police last week has demanded a federal investigation into the killing. Police say Jesse Hernandez was 17 years old, drove a stolen car towards an officer. Shooting marked at least the fourth time in 7 months Denver police have fired a moving vehicle, despite police urging officers to try to move out of the way instead of shooting. In a statement, Hernandez's parents said, "We are dismayed that the Denver Police Department has already defended the action of the officer and blamed our daughter for her own death, even while admitting there were very little information in recent months. Police killings have torn apart communities across this nation. Unjustified shooting of our daughter is only the latest sign of an issue that requires federal oversight." And that's it for the World News today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us. GVTV News. That's right, it's time for the police blotter. Pictures in the blotter not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained from daily logs issued from Nevada County law enforcement. Grass Valley Police Department on Sunday, 6:27 a.m., a caller from Brighton Street and McCourtney Road requested an area check for a transient sleeping near dumpsters and the entrance of businesses. 7:52 a.m., a caller from 2000 block on Nevada City Highway reported a man stealing beer and drinking it in the bathroom of a store. He was arrested on suspicion of being drunk in public and possessing stolen property. And at 10:33 a.m., a caller reported a theft. 11:32 a.m., caller from 100 block on Neal Street reported a man smoking marijuana out of a large pipe. He could not be located. At 12:10 p.m., a caller from 200 block at East Main Street reported finding possible stolen property, which was returned. And at 12:23 p.m., a man from a business 200 block at East Main Street reported the vandalized sign had been returned. At 3 p.m., a caller from 100 block of Neal Street reported people stealing items left for donation. And 3:24 p.m., a man from Ivy Street reported fraudulent activity on a phone account with a woman threatening to file a restraining order against him for unknown reasons. Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Sunday, 11:46 a.m., a caller from 10,000 block of Mercury Drive reported from a burning pile that was bothersome. 10:56 a.m., multiple callers from East Limekiln and Buck Mountain Road reported vehicle accident with driver reported a unconscious, truck hit a guardrail and then a rock. According to CHP, the drivers suffered a seizure and was transported to the hospital with no complaints of pain. 12:28 p.m., a man from Gray Eagle Road reported a stolen dog. Report was unfounded. And 1:50 p.m., a caller from Fairgrounds reported a person with radio-controlled boats was scaring off ducks and geese from the lake. 5:28 p.m., a caller from Bartlett Drive reported a man was in front of a residence threatening to fight people. It was a verbal dispute only. 7:02 p.m., a caller from 18,000 block of Dog Bar Road reported a dead goat in the ditch. 7:20 p.m., a caller from 28,000 block of New School Road reported hearing about 6 gunshots. 8:35 p.m., a caller from Melody Road reported a missing 3-year-old boy, then found him hiding under a bed. 9:56 p.m., a man from Sunrise Road reported a neighbor threatened him and tried to hurt him with a chainsaw. Nevada City Police Department on Saturday, 12:18 p.m., a woman from 200 block at Coyote Street reported a hit and run. 3:15 p.m., caller from 700 block of Zion Street reported a possible squatter issue. 7:26 p.m., caller from 100 block of Boston Avenue reported an assault with injury. No charges were requested. 10:45 p.m., a caller from 200 block of Broad Street reported a woman passed out on a dance floor. She was taken to the hospital. And Sunday, 2:01 a.m., a caller from 300 block of Broad Street reported a physical fight. A man and a woman were arrested on suspicion of being drunk in public. 8:43 a.m., a caller reported a man was assaulted in Pioneer Park and was seeking treatment. No report was desired by the victim. 8:20 p.m., a caller from 300 block of Broad Street reported the possible theft of car keys. 11:08 p.m., a caller from 300 block of Long Street reported hearing a gunshot. And that's it for the Blotter today. Now, thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it does. GVTV News TV. In today's local news headlines, 4 candidates apply for vacant Grass Valley City Council seat. A small plane pilot lands on a Highway 20. In a short story, our first story. Deadline to apply for Grass Valley City Council's vacant seat has passed, and according to City Clerk Christy Bashor, 4 candidates have applied. Bashir said former City Council candidate Jerry Glover, top runner-up in the November election, filed early last week along with Grass Valley Chamber of Commerce member Jedediah Watson, local bed and breakfast owner John Lamb, and Grass Valley Planning Commissioner Benjamin Aguilar. Also submitted 2-page application by the city's January 30th deadline. All 4 candidates will move forward to the city's selection process, which will include public interviews at the next City Council meeting held at 7 p.m. February 10th. Looking for somebody that's in touch with the community that knows what the voters want, Grass Valley Mayor Jason Foyer said. What they can demonstrate the ability to represent people well, somebody that has their heart in the right place and they recognize what a great place Grass Valley is, ability to have a really robust discussion and not just specifically agree with other council members. Seat was left vacant after former City Council member Terry Lampier resigned in a letter sent on January 7th to Grass Valley city officials in October, just weeks before the November 4th election. Nevada County Sheriff's Office confirmed Lampier at the time the Grass Valley City Council candidate was under investigation involving possible charges of child porn. Voters elected Lampier to Grass Valley City Council on December 29th. Nevada County District Attorney Cliff Newell filed a 3-count misdemeanor complaint in Superior Court accusing Lampier of having or possessing digital obscene images in a person younger than 18. January 5th, Lampier was sworn into City Council amidst a crowd of protesters, well, very small crowd, and resigned 2 days later. A week later, City Council members voted to have the city fill the seat through appointment. The City Council's charter requires the city to make the appointment by March 9th, and within 6 days from the date the seat was vacated. I'm looking for somebody who has leadership qualities, who's engaged in the city and thinks it's a great place and wants to make it better, said Council member Lisa Swart-Hout. Bashor says the city is using the same selection process it used with its most recent appointment when current Council member Jan Arbuckle has chosen to fill a vacant seat on the council in 2006. Foyer said city staff is currently putting together a series of questions recommended by city council members to ask each candidate at next week's open session interview. As the mayor, I want it to be open and transparent and fair, said Foyer. We're currently devising a plan where we can get questions in from the public as well. Council members receive $275 per month and meet regularly on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month at a special meeting as needed. Council members may also serve on various committees and act as a city representative to other organizations. City Council plans to choose a candidate to fill the vacant seat at the regular scheduled February 24th City Council meeting. Looking through the applications, they all seem to be strong candidates, Foyer said. I'm proud of the city that we're able to produce people that come from the right qualifications. And the 4 people that are willing to step up to fulfill that position is something that we should be proud of. If you want more information about this, you can go to cityofgrassvalley.com or call Bashor at 530-274-4310. That's 274-4310. A pilot in a single-engine plane had to make an emergency landing on Highway 20 Sunday afternoon, but was uninjured, according to California Highway Patrol. Robert Irwin, young guy, just 90 years old, was flying his plane in Willows to Cameron Park. Residents from a plane navigation system malfunction, the CHP said. Irwin reportedly became disoriented. His plane began running out of fuel. Irwin Safety landed his plane on Highway 20 just west of Cattle Drive in Penn Valley at about 2 p.m. At the time, the highway was clear, and he was able to taxi off the roadway and onto a wide grass shoulder. The National Transport Safety Board and Federal Aviation Administrations were notified of the incident, and arrangements were made to have the plane transported back to Cameron Park. And good for him, flying at 90. That's it today. Grass Valley Television brings you local and world news, and we broadcast our 30-minute show 6 times a day on NCTV, Public Access, Comcast Cable, Channel 11 and 18. Also, we're on Sudden Link, Channel 16 and 18. We have 3 amazing series: Music, a 30-minute weekly show that airs 4 times a week, and Pride, Integrity, Guts, and Service, hosted by Sheriff Keith Royal and me on a bi-monthly series, plays 4 times a week. We're your community media, and if you have a business and would like to underwrite our shows, we offer almost 200 30-second spots a month on Comcast and Sudden Link. We also stream live on NevadaCountyTV.org and video on demand there, and our own websites, GVTV.org and GrassValleyTelevision.com. We also post to several Facebook pages and YouTube, Vimeo, Blip.tv, and many other sites on the web where we mirror our shows. We provide 30-second spots and a 60-second spot for you to embed on your webpage or whatever you want to do with it. For more information, you can call us at 362-8889 or email grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com. We will be happy to explain how your support of us will help us support you. Grass Valley Television also does special programs in the community, and we also mention our underwriters and make sure your customers will see what you do when you're open and where you are. We thank the many businesses that already have supported us: Christopher's Deli and Catering, Station House, D. Martini's Spring Hill Pharmacy, Grass Valley Eye Care, Serendipity, B&C Hardware, Booktown, Ron's Real Records, S&K Auto Repair, Centerville Auto, and many more. We have a Happy New Year's special right now that will give you 2 free weeks of free exposure. Don't miss out. Find out how affordable and rewarding your support can be.